This is Abby Johnson with WebPro News coming to you from PubCon in Las Vegas. And here with me right now is Roger Dooley, the author of the neuromarketing blog. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
Good. Okay, neuromarketing. I've never heard that term before. You were explaining it to me off camera. So could you explain that then for our viewers?
Well, I think that you will be hearing more about it going forward, but by my definition, neuromarketing is any use of brain science in marketing. And there's really two parts to that. There's a very technical sort of neuromarketing that involves brain scans, putting people in fMRI machines or attaching EEG caps to their heads, measuring what's going on in their brain, and then interpreting that data to see how they respond to advertising or other marketing materials. For instance, you could watch a person's reaction to a television commercial while monitoring their brain activity and then conclude that the ad was effective because it seemed to engage their emotions or they tuned out. But to me, the perhaps more interesting side, at least from a practical application standpoint for small and medium business, is behavioral science, and there's a lot of work that's ongoing in understanding why people do things that one wouldn't predict that they would do, and how in fact it's often irrational. It seems irrational, the decisions that people make, and to tease out why people do this, and then my interest is in applying that kind of work to helping businesses market better.
Wow, that's a fascinating aspect of marketing that I wasn't aware of. So essentially, marketers that use this, so do they get like focus groups then to study the behavior?
Well, actually, I think that the focus group is going to be a thing of the past because of neuromarketing.
Okay.
The problem is in a focus group, you're typically just asking people what they think about a product, would they buy it, what do they like about it. And it's not really getting into their subconscious at all. And the results may be misleading because oftentimes people simply can't describe why they do something, and they may not provide accurate information about what they would do in the future, say purchase the product. I use the comparison to an iceberg where about 88% of an iceberg's mass is below the surface, and there are all kinds of estimates for how much of our decision-making process is subconscious, but about the best one is sort of a middle-of-the-road guess at 95%. So basically, the vast majority of our mental processes and our decision-making are not part of our conscious awareness, and that's the area that neuromarketing hopes to tap into. And as a result, give better information than a focus group or a questionnaire or an interview.
So I guess then what I'm not understanding then is how you actually find this information.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends. I mentioned that you have the brain scan approach, which is sort of bypassing even asking people anything and just seeing how they react.
Okay.
There's another technique, not widely used, but it's kind of interesting. It's called facial coding, and basically an expert in reading facial expressions monitors people's reactions, including what are called micro expressions. These are like very little fleeting expression changes that a normal observer wouldn't even notice, but a trained observer can see. And again, they use this to see if a person is watching a television commercial, how are they reacting emotionally? Maybe they're showing a social smile, it's trying to be pleasant, but during one part of the commercial there was a sort of a fleeting disgust reaction. That's what they're trying to see using that technique. So those are some of the ways that you can try and get beneath the surface. And then in the whole field of behavioral research, behavioral research, scientists devise relatively simple experiments to see how people react. And although one very simple example is in a bar, a waiter was actually a grad student doing research, and he offered people free beer samples, and there were 4 beers. And what they found was if the people at the table were each given a choice on all four choice on a slip paper where they can mark it, they would choose the one they wanted. But interestingly, in almost every case, if they simply went around the table asking, each person would choose a different beer, even the last person who would choose the least desirable sounding beer. And so it's like a trivially simple experiment, but it teaches us something about how people make decisions.
Absolutely. Well, you were explaining to me off camera that there are, I mean, obviously this is a little bit of a challenging issue because people have concerns with it, you know, because it's dealing with their with their brain. So talk a little bit about those concerns.
Right. Well, I think that there are some concerns about privacy and whether this is somehow unethical, but in general, those concerns are misplaced or overblown because the folks who have those concerns may not really understand the technology. There is no real mind reading that goes on, and not in the conventional sense that you can read somebody's thoughts. And it's not possible to develop super ads. And that's one of the fears, that somehow using these technologies that Madison Avenue will suddenly begin cranking out ads that turn consumers into buying drones. And that's simply not going to happen. We've had superb advertising for many decades, and that hasn't been happened yet, even by accident. So it's very unlikely that even with some better market research data from brain scans that there's really going to be any more success in that. So the super ads aren't a concern, and then the other popular concept is that there's a buy button in the brain that somehow marketers can push. And again, the decision-making process is far more complex than that. There is no single buy button. Every decision involves different areas of the brain that are being pulled in different directions by varying factors like cost, health concerns, and many other concerns in the consumer's mind. So that's there really isn't, I don't think, anything to fear. And in general, the neuromarketing companies that are providing these services don't work with child subjects, for example. Okay. So I'm not really too worried about that.
It clears that area. Yeah. Okay, well, as you said, since the concerns are not that big of a deal, I guess, it is a huge opportunity then for marketers because you can get so much information from this study. So talk a little bit about those opportunities.
Well, right now the more technical types of neuromarketing involving brain scans are mainly being used by large consumer companies because they can afford to pay the significant fees. In my blog, Neuromarketing, oddly enough, same name, I try and tease out little facts that can be very helpful to small marketers. My most recent post was something very simple. A study had found that an advertisement that simply told consumers at the very end included 10 words that were something very simple along the lines of, "You can trust us to do the job for you." That caused a significant increase in the credibility of the advertiser in 5 different areas. Consumers who saw that found the company to be more competent, more quality oriented, and so on. So this to me is the kind of actionable information that sometimes very simple research can generate.
Wow, well, it is a fascinating concept, and we appreciate you for sharing it with us.
Well, thank you.
This is Abby Johnson with WebPar News coming to you from PubCon in Las Vegas.